Today I'm going to be talking about the final release of Bashayer Residences on Hudayriyat Island. This is the final phase of this project, and I believe that this is not only an amazing end-user product where people are going to be so happy to live in a couple of years, but also a very strong investment for somebody looking to enter a great quality, low density waterfront apartment in Abu Dhabi. So without any further ado, let's go through my investor cases. So again, it's an island waterfront address and it's priced like it's the mainland. You have premium scarcity driven Hudayriyat waterfront apartments at a meaningful discount if we are comparing it to Fahid or Saadiyat Island. So the developer is Modon, and they are government backed, one of the biggest developers in Abu Dhabi, and they've already sold out 4 of the total 6 apartment buildings in the Bashayer Residences project. The demand for these apartments have been absolutely huge, and in terms of the price range, you want to expect it to be around 2.2 to 2.8 thousand dirhams per square foot. Now, I want to make this very clear that the official pricing and details for this final phase haven't come out just yet, but the reason I'm making this video is because if you want to secure a nice unit in a project like this, then you need to prepare in advance. And if you are interested in this, you should get in contact now, because they are going to be doing this release expectedly in the next couple of weeks. And if you don't start preparing for it now, if we don't start looking at the different layouts and units that are going to be available, then it's very unlikely that you will get what you want. They are going to go quick, right? In terms of the handover date, I'm expecting it to be in 2030. And for the payment plan, if they are going to be following the payment plan of their last couple of launches, it should be 40-60 with only 5% down this year. That's what they did for Tara Park, and that's what they did for Hudayriyat Golf Estates. Now, if they do end up doing this, then again, it just makes the investment case a lot stronger. The first 2 releases of Bashayer, they did on 50-50, but again, I believe that they might end up doing this 40-60 incredibly stretched out payment plan as well for this project too. Let's talk about the actual developer. So a government developer is a huge risk mitigant because they have the funds, they have all the resources, and also the power to actually execute a master plan of this level, right? In terms of the product, we get 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, and also a couple of 4 bedroom penthouses. And what I want to highlight is that the layouts are actually very, very spacious and also efficient. They are designed really well, and the 1 bedroom units actually approach many competitors' 2 bedroom footprints, which makes this also an amazing end user product, which is important because whether you're planning to live in this place or not, when it actually hands over, even if you're trying to resell it, right? You are trying to exit it at handover. It's really important that it's a place where people will actually want to live. Otherwise, you won't have much liquidity. So this is exactly how these apartment buildings look. Here is another view from the outside. It looks absolutely spectacular in terms of the design. And this is Hudayriyat Island, which is the bigger master plan that these apartments are part of. So far, there has been some incredibly exciting launches here already. Just a couple of weeks ago, Hudayriyat Golf Estates sold out for around 13 billion dirhams worth of property in just less than a week, which is mind-blowing, right? Mind you, all of this happening while there is still this regional uncertainty ongoing. And that really just shows you how much attention and how much investment is flooding into this area in Abu Dhabi. And there is a reason for that, because what Modon is building here is nothing short of exceptional in terms of both the master plan, the quality, and the payment plan and prices that they are offering. Aside from Mamsha Saadiyat in Abu Dhabi, we don't have too many waterfront buildings that are materially the same, right? Most of them are either higher density and higher rise. Mamsha Saadiyat obviously is not a direct competitor because those are true first row beachfront apartments, and these are going to be only waterfront, but you still have the amazing 16 kilometers of beach on the other side of the island, just a small bike ride away. Even if we count for the fact that we won't reach the same price per square foot as those first row beachfront units, we still have a good amount of room for appreciation, in my opinion. Direct sea view apartments on Saadiyat and Fahid do command a big premium compared to Bashayer, but that's reasonable, right? And it should happen. But where I really see the value in here is, even if we are comparing it to more of the premium launches that have been happening on Reem Island, we are still either at the same price as those or even below it, even though in my opinion Hudayriyat is a much more premium island and will be a much more desired destination to live than Reem Island. There's nothing wrong with Reem. I think you can make some incredible investments there as well because of ADGM and everything that's happening there. It's kind of like not fair to compare the two. I mean, Hudayriyat will have just so much to offer from a lifestyle point of view. So Mamshah Saadiyat apartments are going from around 4,000 to even more than 6,000 dirhams per square foot for the sea-facing units. If we are looking at Fahid Island, first row, and also the ones that have the direct sea view, we are looking at least 3.6 thousand to even over 4,000 dirhams per square foot. And even if we are looking at just premium Reem Island launches that have been happening, it's 2,700 to 2,800 dirhams per square foot. Now for Bashayer Residences, we are expecting it to be in the range of 2,200 dirhams for the side-facing and back-facing units, and closer towards the 2,800 dirhams per square foot for the direct sea view ones. So it is still very much so a great value if we are comparing it to some of the other sea view apartments that you can get. When we are looking at the amenities that this community is going to offer, we have so nice amenities. We have an incredible infinity edge swimming pool that will be available to the residents. Then we have a rooftop deck which is going to be overlooking the sea and also overlooking the Abu Dhabi skyline and the Sheikh's palaces and the royal family palaces on the other side of the canal. We are going to call it a canal, but it is very wide, so you will have plenty of sea view in front of you. Then we also have a modern state-of-the-art gym and Pilates room. We have also the waterfront promenade, which is in front of these buildings, where you can go down for a nice walk or a nice, jogging session. Of course, the entire island will also have cycling tracks. So if you are into sports, this is going to be about as nice of a place to live in the UAE as it gets, in my opinion. Then we'll also have a children's play area, a lounge area, even a gaming area in the apartment buildings. And then you're again also close to all the different type of sport options that you have on Hudayriyat Island. Everything from paddle courts to tennis courts to even full-on football fields. So there are so many options for sports here. Now, if you are looking at the render of the previous apartments that they've launched in Bashayer Residences, the finishes and the design are absolutely top quality. In my opinion, it's a place where I would personally love to live. Again, really timeless and elegant designs, high quality finishes, and also incredible views of either Hudayriyat Island on the back and the third hill as well, which will also have a golf course. And from the higher floors, you might even be able to see on the other side of the island, or on the direct sea-facing units, you will have beautiful sea views and also a view of the Abu Dhabi skyline. Let's talk a little bit about Abu Dhabi versus Dubai and why you should consider investing in Abu Dhabi in 2026. So again, just to summarize the macro in here, we have much more demand in Abu Dhabi than we have units handing over. So we have huge growth, but very disciplined supply and very low supply. Then we also have stricter regulation, stronger buyer protection, and also escrow accounts just like you do in Dubai. The ADM fee that you need to pay when you buy a property is only 2% instead of Dubai's 4% DLD fee. You have better urban planning, so you have less congestion on the roads, clearer waters, and also nicer beaches. And you have fewer launches, and the demand is more concentrated on those launches. So that's why it's super important that you work with an agent who can get you exactly what you want in that launch, because all of the demand is just going towards some of the best projects, which this one, in my opinion, is one of them. So if you are working with someone who doesn't have the right connections and, doesn't stay on top of things, then you might miss out on it, unfortunately. Now, you're also buying in still early into Hudayriyat Island's development cycle. The construction is already ongoing. Al Naseem community, which will be the first one to hand over, is very much so on track. But if you go to the island, there's still so much that needs to be built out. And those people that will see the vision that Abu Dhabi has for this destination and that Modon has, and can invest in early before everybody else realizes this potential as well, those are going to be the investors who make the similar type of gains as the people who bought early in Dubai as well. Not to even mention the fact that Abu Dhabi only opened freehold ownership to foreign investors in 2019 compared to Dubai, where freehold has been open to expats since 2002. So you're also entering into a much less mature market cycle. So Hudayriyat Island is a lifestyle-based destination. You have also great connectivity to Dubai, the private airport, and also Zayed International Airport. And also you can get to ADGM in like 20 minutes, or Saadiyat Island in 25, or you can get to Yas Island in like 30 minutes at most. Now let's take a quick look at a price appreciation estimation. Okay, so this is just an estimation for now. You need to understand that we don't have the exact prices yet for the units that they will be releasing, and it will also depend on the layout and the view the specific unit have and how many bedrooms it has. I personally have one specific type of unit in mind that I will be going for with my investors, but I'm not going to say that in this video because we don't want to create too much competition for ourselves here for those ones. But for the specific type of unit that we will be looking at, we are expecting an entry price per square foot of around 2,260-ish. And we are looking to exit that in around 4 years at roughly 3,000 dirhams per square foot for a spacious 2-bedroom unit with good views. Now, in my opinion, this is still a conservative estimate. I really don't like making price predictions, especially not bold ones. But I genuinely think that this sort of appreciation is possible. And if they do end up going with a 40-60 payment plan, it could be the case that we will see an ROI or return on equity, more specifically, of around 70% on some of the best units. Of course, nobody has a crystal ball, right? I don't know what's going to happen on the market, but I really could see this happening. So you really have two paths here. You can either try to go and flip this or assign it to someone else before handover. You could potentially get capital appreciation on very minimal deployed equity. The developer issues NOC at 20% paid, and it can also be issued earlier if needed, but this is the lowest certainty option that you have. I don't believe that we are in a flipping market anymore. So yeah, if you get one of the best units and you find the right buyer who wants to pay you a premium for that, this is definitely a possibility. But what I would recommend for most people is to hold to handover, then either live in it if you are an end user or rent it out for maybe a couple more years. And then you have the highest chance of actually exiting at, some of the best profits you could see. In my opinion, for example, for a nice corner 2-bedroom, you should be expecting around 240,000 dirhams a year in rent once it hands over at least. So around the 6 to 7% ROI. Now let's take a quick look at the risk assessment. So when it comes to construction or handover delay, we have pretty much like just standard off-plan risk that's there with every single off-plan project. But the mitigant here is that you're working with a government-backed developer. You have, of course, escrow protection and also construction-linked payments. So unlike in Dubai, where you have to pay most of the time whenever the payment is due, in Abu Dhabi, if the construction didn't make as much progress as it needed to make, you don't owe them money until they get to that level of building that was initially agreed. Then you have the risk of exit liquidity and thin comps. Basically, it's a newer market. There's fewer reference sales. But the mitigant for that here is that, again, you have low supply of these apartments, so you're not competing with thousands of identical units. And also, they will keep raising the prices with every single phase in Hudayriyat Island, most likely. So probably this is going to be as cheap as you can still enter a waterfront apartment on Hudayriyat that is of this caliber. Then we have Hudayriyat supply expansion. So what if they launch too much and they dilute the scarcity? You know, you're still pretty early into this master plan. It's a low density release, and also future beachfront stock should be priced higher, not lower. So that should protect your downside there as well. Then you have service charges. That's of course a big concern for a lot of people because it can compress your net yield over time. In the previous releases that they had, the service charge from my research was between 16 to 18.5 dirhams per square foot, which is very reasonable. Also, it is not direct beachfront. Some people will be concerned about that because it caps premium if we are comparing it to Saadiyat first row units or Fahid Island first row units, but that is already reflected and discounted, right, in the entry price per square foot that you are entering at. So look at this master plan. It's absolutely incredible, beautiful, and every time I go back to this island, I can't help but feel like I'm just waiting until stuff starts handing over here so I can actually move here, right? So let's secure the right unit for you. If you're interested in this project, you can scan this QR code and talk to me directly on WhatsApp. I'm happy to share with you updates as we get more of them from the developer, and also answer any questions that you might have about this, and try to figure out which specific type of unit would make the most sense for you, and then actually make sure that you get your allocation as well at the end. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it valuable. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.